This week, chaos erupts on a New York City street after ICE agents target street vendors, and police arrest a mother after her newborn baby was found abandoned in Penn Station. Plus,
it's pretty scary that, something like that can happen.
A human head and torso are reported discovered in Brooklyn. Right now, Fox 5's Crime in the City. For our first story this week, we begin on Canal Street in Lower Manhattan. That's where ICE agents say they conducted a targeted, intelligence-driven enforcement operation focused on counterfeit goods with multiple federal agencies involved.
Homeland Security saying the operation was focusing on criminal counterfeit sales, but as you heard, city leaders see it differently.
Fox 5's Arthur Cheat is live outside Federal Plaza in Lower Manhattan with how this all unfolded. Arthur.
Natasha, Steve, there is a definitive feeling that this foreshadows what's about to come in the city. Up until today, we've seen a lot of ICE enforcement that turned violent, but it was all inside this building here. What we saw today was this playing out on New York City streets as ICE agents descended on Canal Street from Church over to Lafayette, targeting street vendors in perhaps one of the worst kept secrets of a location for an underground market in the city, a place that's known to sell knockoff designer handbags and perfume and fake Rolex watches, to name a few. Now, Citizenette video shows at least one person who was taken by ICE. Another video shows the chaos as heavily armed federal agents swept in multiple vehicles, at least one of which was heavily armored. Now, angry New Yorkers then confronted ICE agents, and in that backlash, many of them started blocking cars from leaving, and some of those people were taken into custody by federal agents. Now, tonight, the Department of Homeland Security tells Fox 5 that they arrested a separate person for assaulting a police officer, but city officials, at least some city officials, were out here tonight to say that federal agents have no business cracking down on the city's street vendors.
Dozens of other officers showed up, and out of nowhere, people were thrown to the ground. Some pushed into cars, others thrown off of their bikes, and all for what?
It is important to note that this is happening under the Eric Adams administration, who is not here right now to say that this is unacceptable.
We're amidst a federal shutdown. There's not the money to make sure that people have their health care premiums, but what there is a federal government with weaponized law enforcement, creating the largest law enforcement agency to try to strike fear and terror into people who are trying to earn a living. Street vendors are not a national security threat.
The chaos that played out on Canal Street prompted a large group to descend on Federal Plaza. There's still about 40 to 50 of them left here. They've been demonstrating peacefully, and part of that group also marched through downtown Manhattan. Now, many, you heard there, noting the mayor's absence, saying the city should know how many people the feds take off of its own streets. Adams did post to social media, however, saying that the city does not cooperate with federal law enforcement when it comes to deportations, essentially saying the city was not involved today. Now, this, as others are telling us, they think the Trump administration might have ordered today's sweep after seeing a social media post that was complaining about illegal vendors selling counterfeit goods on Canal Street.
The most disheartening thing is that if it really was in response to a social media post, it just shows how much of a simpleton this president actually is and how scary this time is.
As for what New Yorkers can do, those who spoke out here tonight pretty much pleaded with New Yorkers to make sure they videotape, that they document anything that they see from a safe distance. They also say to be sure not to provoke law enforcement or to provoke the Trump administration and give them justification, in their words, for a response that would essentially amount to a military invasion of New York City.
We now head to Penn Station, where a newborn baby girl was found abandoned. The mother of that baby is now facing charges.
The NYPD charging the woman this morning. Fox 5's Haley Fixler live from 34th Street with the story that is still unfolding right now. Haley, what's the update?
Well, hey, Bianca, the 30-year-old woman was arrested and she's charged with 2 charges this morning: abandonment of a child and endangerment to the welfare of a child. So this is what we know. We know this all happened during the 9 a.m. rush hour on Monday. A newborn baby with the umbilical cord still attached was found near the 1 train here at the 34th Street station. The baby girl was reportedly wrapped in a blanket and left lying near the stairwell heading to the downtown trains. Now, later, police released this photo of who they are now identifying as Aza Diawara. And then this morning, they arrested and charged her for abandoning her daughter. Now, New York does have a safe haven law, so this means that parents are able to relinquish their newborns up to 30 days old without fear of prosecution. The thing is, though, they have to do so at safe and designated spots like hospitals, fire stations, and police stations. And because the subway is not one of those protected locations, that is why there are some charges against the mother. Now, we do know that the baby was alert when she was found and was taken to the hospital. Diawara is expected in court today, and right now we are working on getting some more information.
Down in Flatbush, a man was arrested and charged after a head and torso were reportedly found inside a garbage bin.
Now to that shocking discovery in Brooklyn, a law enforcement source telling Fox 5 a head and torso has been found in a garbage bin. Duarte Geraldino's live in Flatbush with more on what we know about a potential suspect in this case. Duarte.
Steve, law enforcement sources are telling us this may be the tragic end to a domestic disturbance between 2 men. I'm standing about 20 feet away from the spot where that man's body was discovered, and we know that he is connected in some way to an apartment in this building behind me, 557 East 21st Street. Neighbors say they'd heard an argument coming from that apartment for over a week, but they never thought it would end like this. Well, this morning, police discovered human remains in a garbage bin outside the building. Investigators say it was a head and torso. Crime scene investigators arrived just before 10 a.m. along with officials from the medical examiner's office. Now, this discovery came after a 311 call about a foul odor coming from an apartment. Neighbors tell us they'd been noticing an unusual smell spreading through the building for days.
That's pretty scary. It's pretty scary that, you know, something like that can happen, and more important that nobody, you got to come through the elevator, you got to come through the stairs, you got to come. People's always outside over here, so it just seems kind of crazy that somebody can bring a body.
And police say someone eventually did notice the smell, but as of now, the cause of death and why the body was dismembered still are just unclear. Investigators say they're looking for a suspect in connection with this case. Now, again, law enforcement sources believe that the suspect likely knew the victim, but what the nature of their relationship is still unclear. Once again, tonight, a man's head and torso were found in garbage bins outside of this apartment building in Flatbush.
We now leave New York for Jersey City. That's where a man is dead after a police-involved shooting.
Breaking news out of Jersey this morning. A man is dead after a police-involved shooting in Jersey City. It happened about 1 o'clock this morning near Bergen Avenue. Now, according to Jersey City Mayor Stephen Fulop, a street crimes unit spotted a man acting suspiciously. He supposedly looked like he had a weapon underneath his clothing. The mayor said when officers approached him, he began shooting at them. The officers returned fire, striking the man, who was later pronounced dead. We are continuing to monitor the situation. As soon as we get more info, we will bring it to you right away.
And finally, we end in Westchester County. That's where police say these 3 people are accused of breaking into Playland Amusement Park and causing extensive damage. This is a pretty strange crime. Westchester County Police are asking for help finding this group of young men.
Yeah, they're accused of breaking into Ride Playland after arriving by boat, vandalizing the park, and stealing hundreds of carnival prizes. Good Day's Richard Giacovis shows us the damage.
Playland's summer season has come and gone, but weeks later, the lights, at least in one part of the historic amusement park, remain on. And this may be the reason why. It was a few weeks ago in the middle of the night when these 3 guys, police say, decided to take a ride over to Playland while it was dark for what they may have thought were some fun and games.
People doing stupid ideas are going to do stupid things.
Westchester County Police releasing this photo taken off of a surveillance camera inside one of the ride tunnels at Playland overnight on the 24th of September. They're asking for help finding out who these men are and why cops say they took it upon themselves to ransack parts of the park before taking off.
And I just think they need security.
That trio caused trouble right away a few nights ago when they came ashore on a boat that they rowed here to Playland Beach. They got off, hopped up onto the boardwalk, and their first stop was to grab a hold of this photo booth. They tried to lift it from the bottom and throw it into the Sound. They were unsuccessful, but the vandalism didn't stop there. This image shows them caught in the act, except they couldn't muster enough strength to lift it. Then the group must have climbed over the gates and found themselves inside an electrical room where they ripped out fiber optic cables to cut off phone and Wi-Fi service. Before they left, they allegedly snagged about 200 stuffed animals and hauled them away in garbage bags.
That's very scary that's coming here. Yep.
In a statement, Westchester County Executive Ken Jenkins called the incident infuriating and heartbreaking, saying in part, quote, "Being young is one thing, being destructive is another. I am angry and deeply disappointed by the actions of the individuals who broke into Playland Park and caused such senseless destruction. Playland belongs to all of us, and it deserves our protection, not our destruction."
Those guys are going when they eventually do find them. I'd say their parents are going to be mighty disappointed in them.
If you recognize the shameless trio, call Westchester County Police's General Investigations at 914-864-7916. Richard Giacobas, Good Day, New York.
That's this week's Crime in the City. Subscribe for more at youtube.com/Fox5NY.